And we are live once again with our good friend Larry Johnson. And
Hi
today,
there.
super special guest, the triad, Commander Farinazzo, Ricardo Amadezi from Fala Total, and of course, the one that speaks to you, myself, Marcelo from the Press of Mass Destruction or Imprensa de Destruição em Massa. And before we start, I would like to remind everybody to like, share, subscribe to the channels. Channel Fala Sério Total, channel Arte da Guerra from Commander Farinazzo, and of course follow Larry on this side on sonar21.com, where you can find all his fantastic updates, mostly daily. Nowadays, almost twice a day. It's hard to keep the pace there. And let's start. Larry, how are you doing, man?
The old expression, busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, okay?
Excellent. Now, I like this one. I'm going to write this down right now. Larry, we are seeing the developments. As usual, they started on the weekend, so I only have the chance to talk to you on Tuesday, which is also very good because we have time to analyze more things that are developing. Donald J. Trump expected this war to end before this show, and it hasn't. So, what do you think is the establishment of the United States thinking about this conflict and how it is developing?
Wait, what was that word you used about the establishment? Thinking? You think they're thinking about this, dude? No,
sometimes I overestimate people. I'm sorry.
These are like bad jazz musicians, who play terrible music, but they just improvise as they go along. Throw something at the wall, hoping that it sticks. Look, they've been looking to create an excuse to go to war with Iran for the United States for the last 46 years. Why? We want to control the oil and gas in Iran. It's that simple. All this other stuff about, Iran's trying to get a nuclear weapon. They've got ballistic missiles. They're providing support for Hamas and Hezbollah. That's all peripheral stuff. Those are excuses, because the goal is we have got to control the oil and gas there, not only for our own consumption and Israel's, if you will, energy security, but also to prevent Russia and China, along with the other BRICS nations, which includes Brazil, from creating this alternative financial system that the United States no longer controls or dominates. So that's what's going on here. As far as thinking about, okay, how are we going to launch this attack? What is our military objective? Well, they keep changing it. Regime change. No. To keep Iran from getting a nuclear missile or nuclear weapon. No. They got to get rid of their ballistic missiles. All they've now ensured is that by the nature of the attacks, by killing the Ayatollah Khamenei and the Minister of Defense and the head of the IRGC and the head of the police, it was all a setup. I don't understand why the Iranians are so damn naive and keep getting suckered into these traps, but they do, and you can't go back and change it. But what it has done, it's now united the Iranian people in a way that they weren't united 2 months ago, and they are going to press forward. They've got the advantage. They're fighting a defensive war, and the Western news media is filled with all these attacks that are taking place inside Iran. Compare that with what Russia has been doing inside Ukraine over 4 years. It doesn't even begin to measure up. And what the attacks in Ukraine have shown is, even with missiles and airstrikes, there's a limit to what it accomplishes on the ground. It doesn't cause regime change. And in fact, it may have contributed in the Russia case to uniting the Ukrainians more than they would have otherwise been. So the same phenomenon is underway in Iran right now, with the difference that because the IRGC has closed the Strait of Hormuz, and now for the third day, 21% of the world's oil ain't coming out. That's cash flow that's not going to Saudi Arabia and Qatar and the Emiratis. So this is going to create some real economic problems for them and for certain countries in the world. China not so much, because China had started loading up on oil over the previous month. I think they knew this was coming. They knew this was going to happen. So this puts in my view, Iran in a particularly potentially strong position for negotiation. If they can continue firing the missiles, what's in the next 2 weeks, I think Israel's complete supply of interceptors will be exhausted. They'll be out because it's not like they're producing 100 of those a day or 100 of those a month. No, it's far, far, far fewer. So whatever they're using up now, they're not going to be able to replace. Same for the United States. And if I would have asked any of you gentlemen 3 weeks ago, hey, how do you think that Iran's got the ability to attack all of the U.S. military bases in Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, and that the United States will basically have to abandon those bases in 2 days? You think that's possible? I bet everyone would have said, oh, you got to be kidding. That's not going to happen. It happened. It happened. And the United States doesn't have an answer for it. They initially planned, they assumed that they could forward deploy the F-35 squadrons into Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia and to Mawafaq al-Salti in Jordan. And with the air defense systems, they'd be fine. Those air defense systems suck. They don't work. So now they're trying to figure out where to relocate, having to relocate the aircraft to places like Cyprus. And even there, Iran has the ability to reach out and touch them. So this is going off in directions that nobody anticipated. And one outcome I think is possible, but it is contingent upon Iran continuing to launch missiles against Israel and the United States, is that when the West finally plead, say, hey, we got to put an end to this. How do we get an end? Iran can start off by saying, you're going to lift all the sanctions against us. Those are going to go away, and you're not going to have any more military bases in the Gulf. And the United States at some point might be compelled to accept that. Right now, people say, oh, that's crazy. That's never going to happen. Oh, maybe. But I put it out there as one possibility to consider.
Yeah, someone just commented here, shit hit the fan, and also the Navy. So I'm going to pass the word, the staff to Commander Farinazo. Commander, please go ahead.
Thank you, Marcelo. Larry, do you think Iran has the ability or the capacity to sink a logistic ship of the U.S. Navy?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is, I'd want to be sitting in on the meetings taking place right now with the chief of naval operations, because in the past, their headquarters, the 5th Fleet headquarters, was there in Bahrain. Well, that's gone now. I mean, it's been decimated. They've had to pull their personnel out. So where do they go? Well, they had started constructing an alternative base down in, I think, Muscat in Oman, because at least there they didn't have to worry about getting caught up in the Strait of Hormuz. Well, Iran, last I checked, has also attacked that site to deny the U.S. any base. So the closest is Diego Garcia, and that's not a U.S. Controlled station. That's a British controlled station. So right now they've created Iran has created a significant problem for the United States in being able to support naval operations. These, as the Commandante knows, the destroyers in the U.S. Fleet, they carry what are called vertical launch missile systems. So these are like, these are like tubes. You know, this is a tube. It's placed down in the deck. You open the hatch, place the missile gets placed in, and they can be used for both Tomahawks, which are cruise missiles, or they have Aegis missiles that are for air defense. Well, there are 96 of those tubes. And once you fire it and the tube is empty, the only way to reload is the ship has to sail to port somewhere where they have those missiles in supply, and then they load them up in the ship, and then the ship can get back in. So if each of these ships, or let's take, if one of these ships is attacked with 100 Iranian drones and missiles, the entire night, they've only got 96. Normally, you're going to fire 2 missiles in air defense capacity against one inbound target. Well, that means you got 96 missiles, assuming they're all air defense, that means you can handle 48. So what about the other 52 that are coming at you? And then once they fire, they got to withdraw. So these can lead both to very, very short engagements at sea. You know, these aren't going to be long drawn out battles because they're going to run out of ammunition pretty quick. And once the destroyers retire, the aircraft carriers got to go along with it. They can't stay in the area. And we've got mixed reports that Iran claims it fired 4 cruise missiles at the Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln's claiming, oh, yeah, they didn't touch us. I would trust the Iranians more than I would trust my own government. My own government is a bunch of proven liars. So, because then we should also talk about the complete bullshit that's being put out about, oh, the friendly fire on 3 F-15 Eagles that were shot down by friendly fire. Okay, each of those planes has an IFF, identify friend foe, system on board. And so you want us to believe that the operators, they're trying to pretend that the people operating the Patriot systems that allegedly shot these planes down were entirely Kuwaitis who were incompetent. I mean, not only did they fail to do one IFF correctly, they failed 3 times. And nobody said, oh, are you sure about, the story doesn't add up. It's a lie. Those planes were shot down by Russian S-300s. But again, it goes back to this, the planners, the people doing the planning on this, it's almost amateur hour.
Larry, Marcelo, só fazer mais uma pergunta para ele.
Larry, go ahead.
Do you think U.S. Navy did not believe that Iran could obliterate all their bases in the Persian Gulf? It's a brilliant maneuver from Iran to obliterate the naval bases. Do you think the U.S. Navy did not predict this?
No. I don't think they even made a contingency plan for that. And part of it, I think, was predicated on their thinking back to the 12-day war in June. During that war, Iran didn't lay a hand on any of the U.S. military facilities until the last day when, the deal that was cut with Trump got to do his bombing and obliterate the nuclear enrichment program of Iran. And then Iran got to hit a radar facility on the base at Al Udeid, just outside of Doha in Qatar. This time, man, Iran didn't waste any time. It took out the radar at both Al Udeid and the radar at Bahrain. Now, those 2 radars, they played a critical role. So they got what they call multi-layered air defense. Well, sort of the foundation of that air defense are these radars that detect launch, trajectory, location. And that way, okay, Israel, you've got an incoming at this location, this longitude, latitude, this altitude, but they're now knocked out. So that element of being able to see what's coming is no longer there. And I don't think any U.S. military thought that they could fend it off with their Patriot missile systems, and they found out that those systems are worthless. So that's what I said. There's if Iran can maintain the pace of fire of engagement, let's say it can continue to fire 100 missiles a day into Israel, and I think if the Iranian general staff, if they're not thinking this way, they ought to be fired, but they should be concentrating their missile barrage right now on all the airfields in Israel. Nevatim, forget the name of the other one. Shut those airfields down, and all of a sudden the attacks against Iran are going to dramatically fall off. So that's what that's where the threat is. Deal with that threat first. Then once you have crippled the air operations of Israel, then it's just a turkey shoot. They can take out the nuclear facility at Dimona. They can decimate and destroy the harbors in Haifa, Tel Aviv, so that no goods are coming in. It can't be delivered. Knocked out all the oil refinery, so they can do a lot of damage. So we're early on in this. I think by the end of next week, Israel is going to be in some serious pain.
Thank you, Larry.
All right, I'm gonna pass the word to Ricardo then. Let me unmute you. All right.
So, Larry Johnson, it's a real pleasure to meet you because this is my first time here.
Yeah.
In Rio de Janeiro, we talked just a little bit with you and Marcelo because we are in a reunion in Rio, but it's just a little bit. So, Larry, I follow your blog, Sonar 21. In 2024, Iran carried out a high calibrated strike against Israel, signaling military capability without seeking a regional escalation. But now, in February 2026, we have seen a far more assertive and less surgical Iranian response. When we compare these two episodes, 2024 and 2026, what does this shift tell us about the evolution of Iran military doctrine? And your view is was reading this signal completely, or is still trapped in flawed assumptions about how Iran calculate risk and escalation?
Well, what took place in October of 2024 was called Operation True Promise 1. And this was really Iran's response to previous provocations by Israel. And it was intended, it was a demonstration. They were trying to, because they initially launched a bunch of drones and then a bunch of low-level missiles that soaked up Israel's air defense initially. And then they came in and they did demonstrate one of their hypersonic missiles that you literally, you saw it coming down and then it deviated. So that's the definition of a hypersonic, traveling in excess of Mach 6 and that you can maneuver it. But what Iran, I think, naively was doing back then was saying, hey, we can really inflict some damage on you if you continue in this way. And neither Israel nor the United States believed it. They ignored that lesson. Then we got to Operation True Promise 3, which came in the aftermath of the surprise attack on June 13th. And in that case, Iran was caught unprepared. And it took them, even though they got this, surprise attack, and several senior ministry government officials were killed, they were back up and firing in 12 hours. So they were back online and directing attacks. This time, I would suggest that it's not as chaotic as it may appear. And the reason for that is the control of social media by the Zionists. Larry Ellison has got control of TikTok. Back in June of last year, during that 12-day war, we actually had pretty good intel coming over TikTok from people who were on the ground. They're now controlling that. That's now being shut out. So you would get the impression that nothing's happening. But the reason we're not seeing what's happening is the normal social media outlets that were available to people in Israel are now under control, effectively, of the government. So it's a blackout of information. That said, once this surprise attack took place last Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m., within an hour, Iran was starting to fire back. They didn't wait 12 hours, immediately went back, and because they had pre-planned, they said, in the event there is a decapitation strike, every regional military commander had authorization to pick targets and fire away. And that's what they've been doing. So there is right now, or at least for the first 2 days, there was no centralized command and control over those military strikes that were being carried out. And I don't know if it was in the plan or someone just came up with the idea, but hey, let's blow the hell out of these U.S. military facilities. And they've been doing that quite effectively. At the same time, we've learned Mossad sent operatives to try to create a false flag to carry out attacks in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, UAE, to blame it, to kill civilians, blame it on Iran in order to further inflame and enrage, because this is Israel's last play. They got to destroy, they don't destroy Iran now, they're done. Oh, you're muted.
I'm unmuted now. Oh,
no,
you hear me?
Ricardo was talking. He was trying to talk, but he was muted.
Okay.
Oh, no, just thanks for your answer, Larry. Marcelo, it's your time. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Larry, you just mentioned something that it's in line with my question now. I'm going to do two questions, and then I'm going to leave the rest of the interview to my friends. Two questions that I have, and I'm always a little bit conspirationist on this. Well, one of this, what you just said about false flag attacks on civilians. We had recently the attack on the Aramco refinery, and interestingly, the Iranian channels, including Press TV and everything, are saying that Iran's denying the attack on Aramco, which is interesting. I mean, Iran has not denied mostly anything so far. It's taking credit for everything that it has done, and now it's denying this. It's kind of interesting to me. And we also had three planes, 3 F-15s that were shut down by the friendly fire, as they say, and we also have some indications that those were really not shut down by Iran. Indications, I mean, not official indications, but we are checking this as the truth to this. So do you think that the United States could be, or United States and Israel, apart just for trying to bring people into the war to attack Iran, do you think it could also plan to create this oil shorten around the world to keep developing and developed countries down? and keep hegemony on oil by, as they think, security the oil from Venezuela, which is not really the case.
Well, we could go all sorts of conspiracy theories that actually this was Russia that did this, because now that the price of oil is going up, boy, Russia's going to be rolling in cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the attack at Aramco, I think, increasingly is looking like it was done by Mossad agents to try to inflame the situation. You know, Iran kept telling the Saudis, the Qataris, the Emiratis, look, we're not attacking you, but we're attacking those American motherfuckers. Yeah, that's who we're going after. And you know, they're going to continue to do that. You saw the Gulf Cooperating Council, the GCC. They're freaking out. They sent a contingent of military personnel into Bahrain, because here's Bahrain, who is 80% Shia. They are ruled by this Sunni family, call them a bunch of degenerates. And so they're very nervous that they could be overthrown and a new government could come into place in Bahrain. And then that makes the Saudis and Qataris and Emiratis nervous, because again, those societies, even though they're more majority Sunni, nonetheless, they're still in a situation where this very small group of elites, autocrats, control the country. So you've got that. But the downing of those 3 F-15 Eagles, that was Iran did that, and nobody wants to give them credit for, because if they give that, we keep being told the story about how the United States and Israel enjoy air supremacy over Iran, but you know, you're not. I haven't seen any video of any Israeli jet flying over Tehran or Isfahan. What they're doing is they're flying up to, you know, the border, the Saudi-Iranian border, and they're firing off missiles that then go into the interior and cause the damage. So they're not actually engaged with flying over the target, and that's why it looks like in this case the Iranians, using a Chinese radar with assistance of Russia, they brought down 3 of those F-15s in short order. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, sounds also plausible that way. I'm gonna pass to Farinazo. Go ahead.
Muted.
Wait. You're muted.
Thank you. Sorry. Larry, what do you believe that is the extension of the support from China to Iran? Do you believe that just satellites or something else?
I think it's been primarily satellite intelligence. They reportedly have provided some weapon systems. I was hoping that they'd provide more extensive support with personnel on the ground. I think I see some hesitation on the part of China and Russia to get more involved with this attack, or fending off the Israeli-U.S. attack. And I think actually they ought to be doing more, because they're on the chopping block. The United States is not going to leave them alone. The goal for the United States is to destroy them. So that's why I said, you know, people need to wake up and realize, you know, if you got a mass murderer, that proven mass murderer that's moved next door to you, don't be figuring out how you can be a good neighbor. Okay. You're not, no matter what you do, you're not going to have a good neighbor relationship. That's a murderer next door to you. And that's what the United States is. The United States is a serial murderer. And we got Vietnam, Syria, Lebanon, Afghanistan, you know,
Korea.
Iraq, Korea. I mean, let's go down the list. There's not one place where we've gone in and, quote, liberated the country, and we're still pissed off at the Iranian people for tossing out the Shah. I mean, he was our bitch. He would do what we told him to do. And now these damn Iranians, they want to have it their own way. Who are they? They can't tell us what, you know, they've got to obey. And that's where, unfortunately, the actions on the part of the United States and Israel bringing killing a lot of people, innocent people, particularly as now. I think the count is like 165 schoolgirls. I mean, good Lord, what a horrific number. And the United States didn't care, not our girls.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna change to Ricardo. You're muted.
Thank you, Marcelo. Larry, let's talk about Europe. I wrote tonight. I wrote last night. Macron pushes toward a more nuclear-armed Europe. Is not an isolation move. All right, it is a reflection, a continent that increasingly realize the American security umbrella is no longer as a guarantee as it once was.
Right.
So they behave almost like a betrayed in Brazil. They behave almost like betrayed spouses are fighting in a court over a set of silverware they're never actually honored. Here in Brazil, I joke that the amicable divorce, everything goes smoothly until the couple starts arguing about who gets the silverware. So when I look for Europe, I don't know. I believe that they don't know anything what's going on. So what can we expect for Europe this year?
They're going to be desperately looking to figure out how to replace the loss of this liquid natural gas that comes out of Qatar. What people need to understand about these gas contracts, it's not like, if you smoke cigarettes and you end up smoking your last cigarette, oh, I'm out. I need to get some more. You run to the local, tienda, fast, gas station, whatever, someplace where you just walk in, hey, give me a pack of cigarettes. Liquid natural gas doesn't work like that. The contracts for that are let out 6 months to a year in advance. So it's like the liquid natural gas I'm producing today is intended for somebody that's going to receive it 6 months out. Or somebody, what I'm selling today was purchased by someone 6 months ago. So what this means is now with this shortage, they don't have any place else to go. So there's going to be that impact. It depends on, do they have a good stockpile, inventory of reserve gas? Then they've got some time to maneuver. But if they don't have that, I think one of the ironies out of this will be that Europe will want to return to having a relationship with Russia, because Russia has the liquid natural gas, and Russia, they've got the pipeline still in place that could send it to Europe. And for Europe, when they can get it cheaper from Russia, I mean, this is where I think economic pain will finally force them to get some sanity, where they'll reluctantly go back and reestablish a relationship with Russia. But what this underscores is just the weakness of Europe. That, we go back 100 years, no, let's say 120 years into the late part of the 19th century. Europe was an economic powerhouse. Europe was a military powerhouse. Europe was a scientific powerhouse. The leading scientists of the era, they're all coming out of Europe. Now, where are we? Hey, we're seeing the shift. The leading universities, particularly on the engineering front, they're in China. They're not talking one or two. I mean, we're at 8 or 9. So we're seeing a complete shift where Europe really is no longer relevant.
Yeah.
You know, what do you need from Europe other than, you know, some champagne, some good cheese? But you know, they're not making anything that's critical for technology. So that's where they are. They're irrelevant and they're economically weak. And because if they had their own resources, fine, you know, hey, who cares if we're losing oil out of the Middle East? Now they care. And, you know, there is a possibility that you could get NATO involved in wanting to attack Iran. If NATO goes that route, I think then you will see Russia and China get engaged. And NATO will justify it because of the attacks at Cyprus. Well, Iran's attacking the base at Cyprus because it's hosting the planes that used to be forward deployed at Prince Sultan Airport and at Muwafaq al-Salti in Jordan. So, you know, like I said, this is where this thing can then start spinning out of control and blossom into a world war as opposed to just a regional war right now.
Oh, so thanks again, Larry. And yes, it's a terrible scenario. You're right.
Yeah,
it's too bad. Thank you. Muito obrigado.
Obrigado.
Marcelo.
All right, I'm gonna pass the word to Comandante Farinazzo. I would just like before that to ask everybody to like, share, subscribe to the channels, and, you know, follow Larry on sonar21.com. Don't forget, best Substack on the internet today. Okay, Comandante, please take the lead. Let me unmute you.
Larry,
all right.
Do you believe Khamenei was wrong in not to build the bomb, the nuclear weapons?
Yeah, you know, and I've said this several times in the last couple of days, asking people, okay, explain the logic to me. We claim that the reason we're mad at Iran is because they're trying to build a nuclear bomb. So our solution is we're going to kill the one guy who for 36 years has been blocking Iran from building a nuclear weapon. The one guy who said, nope, we're not going to do that, not going to allow it, it's against our religion. So we kill the one guy that's prevented Iran from getting a nuclear bomb. Does that make sense? Oh, no, it makes no sense whatsoever. So I think one of the things that could be happening right now is a decision to say, hey, the Ayatollah, God rest his soul, who was a very decent man, but we now have to recognize we need to protect ourselves. If we have a nuke, they're not going to be attacking us. Let's do it. And I think Iran, in short order, could build a nuclear weapon. They have that capability, but you know, they've been willing to accept outside inspection. They've been willing to give up some enrichment for lifting of sanctions. But again, the West didn't comply. We kept putting it on Iran that they were the ones who broke the agreement. They were the ones who refused to cooperate. It was all not true. So I think, you know, if history has taught them anything, if you got a nuke, baby, West leaves you alone. Just ask North Korea.
Yes. King is the guy.
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un is the guy.
Yeah. Just
thank you, Larry. Vai, Ricardinho, você aí.
Tava mutado aqui.
You guys hear me?
There he is. Unmuted.
Tava mutado aqui, desculpa.
Okay. Just to tell you, Larry, that someone got your secret ID there. Someone said that you're his uncle Carlão from Alabama. You're not a former CIA.
Who they said what?
They said that his uncle Charles from Alabama, not former CIA dude.
I don't even begin to understand that.
Someone in the chat said that you're not former CIA. All right. Ricardo,
they're claiming
do you wanna go
they're claiming
for-
that I'm still CIA.
No, that you're not former CIA, you're just some random guy
Oh,
called Charles. Big Charles.
ele é meu tio Carlau, professor de inglês aqui no interior do Alabama. Is that what?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Yeah. You know, hey, all
You
I
got
know
your
is what
secret ID, dude.
yeah, you know, when my first year at the agency, we had to get, because we were undercover, and the reason I was in the career trainee program about close to a third of the people in that group were going to be case officers working overseas. So therefore, we all had to be undercover just to protect the identities. And when we went through it, you know, for example, Valerie Plame was in my class, but I only knew her as Valerie P. They only used the last name. Now, in my case, name Johnson's a very, very common name in the United States. I mean, if you went to somebody random and said, "What do you think about Larry Johnson?" They go, "Oh man, he's a great basketball player, or was." They're referring to this 6'8" black power forward who used to play for the New York Knicks. They called him Grandmama. Or they could say, "Oh yeah, no, he was a good running back when he played with the Chiefs and the Nittany Lions at Penn State." Also Larry Johnson. So it's like I got the perfect spy name. I got a name that's so widely used. It's like vanilla, you know. It's not unique. It's not easy to identify, as opposed to if I've been named something like Marcinkowski, you know, that's not common.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass to Ricardo for his last question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The Patricia says, "Larry, I love you and your shirt."
Yeah, I broke out the fire shirt today.
So, Larry, to what extended in Washington while to go to NSS 2025, all right? They started with Venezuela.
Uh-huh.
Now we have Iran, and who the next? The Greenland, Brazil. What message should we convey to the Brazilian audience watching you now?
Well, I got the story we've been told about Venezuela is not the truth. What actually happened? If you recall, there was a $50 million reward on the head of Maduro. I am personal friends. Well, I'm not going to say with who, but the person who was in contact with members of Maduro's security team, his bodyguards, his chauffeur. This was all arranged on the inside in order to try to collect that $50 million reward. This was about the money. And those individuals who were in Maduro's inner circle passed information that was delivered to the U.S. Special Operations Command, specifically to Delta Force in their mission planning. That's why they were able to fly in on a with a night full moon. That's why the air defense systems in Venezuela weren't working. And everybody that was involved anticipated getting a payoff. Trump fucked them because he said, no, we're not paying a reward. Mm-hmm. So the United States put that out. These guys went to the risk, and now they got screwed. They didn't get the reward. This story will be breaking sometime in the next week or two. You watch. You heard it here first.
You heard here first.
You stole my
All right.
words.
Can I put Larry? Do you have a time for one last question? For
Yeah, one last one.
Commander?
Then I'm gonna have to bug out of here in about 5 minutes.
Also, Commander has to run. This weekend he had 11 interviews in the same day as well. Saturday.
Oh boy.
Right?
Yeah.
Commander.
Larry, I want to send a great hook for a common friend that both we have, Andrei Marchanov.
Oh yeah.
The books from Marchanov. Andrei, if you are watching us, a great hook, my friend, and I want to, all us want to interview you in the next days. Thank you, Larry. As always, it's a great pleasure to hear you. You have a great number of fans in Brazil.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's always great to be able to chat with you guys. I mean, I always enjoy Marcelo, but now it's an added treat with you two.
Yeah,
Thanks.
sometimes this year, Commander will be slightly more present also in our conversations every now and then, I'm sure. And also Ricardo every now and then is going to jump in since we had this discussion this weekend, which was a great pleasure to finally meet this person in person. I'm waiting for the opportunity to meet you in person, my good friend Larry.
Yeah, next time, and we hope to have you here in Brazil.
Yeah, okay.
So we can sit down, talk, and enjoy a caipirinha together.
Yeah, that a feijoada.
Feijoada,
Great feijoada.
Andrei loves feijoada. Marchanov, he likes feijoada.
Yeah,
He's
well,
a great fan of Brazilian football.
what I learned when I lived in Argentina, because Argentina, as they say, la odio la vaca tanto que la como. You know, I hate the cow so much I eat it. They always took pride that they had the best meat, you know, the best beef. But the truth of the matter is Brazil does. You know.
Oh yeah.
I have 3 times this on record here.
Nós vamos colocar, pessoal que está assistindo aqui, nós vamos colocar a entrevista em português, tá, Larry? I'm talking to our people, our subscribers, that we will put this interview in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Today, the person that does not understand the English. Later, we will put the interview in Portuguese.
All good. Yeah. So,
All right.
All right. Hey,
we
listen. Thanks so much. I got to
very
bail.
much, my good friend. Yeah,
we'll see you
go
next
ahead.
week.
Also, Commander has to go. See you next week, my good friend. Remember
All right.
to like, share, subscribe, and follow Larry on sonar21.com, everybody. Ciao, ciao, my good friend.
Saludos a tutti, as I say in Italian.
So, Spanish and Italian.
Yeah. É português. Em português. Falo pouco.
Obrigado, viu,
Grande
Larry?
abraço, Larry.
Tchau.
Grande abraço.
Bye-bye.